Hey, welcome back. Amir? Hey, welcome back, Amir. We talked about the 10-4 last week, right? There's 4 different habits, and we want to do 10 of them every day, right? Add 10 people to our database, contact 10 people, send them a follow-up card, and then preview 10 properties. Lindsay, that's what we established. But that habit is a habit that we're going to be trying to achieve as we go through Ignite for the next 5 weeks or whatever it is, right? So anybody comments on this? Anybody start diving into this head first?
The first issue is I'm a big advocate for new agents to go see properties, know your market, right? But there's really no market right now. So I went to go do 10 and there's 3. So it's okay to just do 3 is what I'm telling people. Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Lauren just brought up a point and it reminded me of something I forgot to tell you guys. Very important point. We recommend that, so previewing 10 properties a day, it can be online. You don't have to like hop in your car and go. Now, don't get me wrong. It's great to view property in person. You should do that. I would say like at least once a week go on Caravan. Here, it's kind of interesting because you have Caravan on different days in different areas. So you could go on Caravan, 3 days a week? 4, right? Yeah.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah. So you can, and that would not be a bad use of your time. If you got other stuff going on, previewing online is works well too. I would say at least one of the days make them in person. Yeah. If you're gonna go online, don't just like look through the pictures and be like, oh, okay, got it. Like look at the full agent listing and look at all of it, read through it, and just see like see what you get from that. Ask yourself like, okay, what do I think about this property? And it's interesting. Like I know at first, like I remember when you first start doing this, you're just gonna feel like numb to it all. You're like, I don't even like after a couple weeks of this, you're gonna be like, nothing is sinking in. I don't know why the hell I'm doing this. I'm just looking at properties and just looking at numbers and nothing is sinking in. But then I promise you, it starts to click. You're gonna start to learn. If you do this and do this consistently, you're going to start developing to know properties. It's really cool.
I have a question. Do you guys do a office Caravan like for our listings?
That's a great point.
I used to do that when I was here 11 years ago. Whatever.
That's a great point. I believe we used to do that before the pandemic hit and everything. So we need to bring that back. Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, in general, that's one thing I've been talking to Simon about is that at team meetings, being able for agents to have a moment to be able to introduce their listings, and then also for all of us to promote it and go show them some support by all of us. We've got 300 agents. Let's all flood into when one of us has a listing. Let's all attack their home and show up and
looks really good in this market too if everybody shows up.
Mm-hmm. Great point. Point taken.
Okay.
But any notes from you guys doing the 10-4 activities? Any ahas? Was it easy? Was it hard? Anyone doing it? Anyone not doing it?
Just as a general, I like when I'm going to see properties over the past few months. Also, not only doing it to see the property, which is great, but to look at the agent and see what they're doing and what resonates with you and what you maybe would do differently, which is kind of neat. Who's doing sign-in sheets, who's not doing sign-in sheets, how they're keeping track of that.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. And then for me too, being a photographer, I love going through and taking the best photos I can on my cell phone, and then being able to do like I've been trying to do a property peek every week so that people see that I'm in real estate just on my stories, and it definitely generates some conversations. That's great.
Awesome. That's great feedback. Anybody else? Let me ask this. Anybody? So on Tuesday we talked about Ford, right? Family, occupation, recreation, dreams. A great way to start a conversation with just about anybody. Anybody try that?
I did.
Hey, come on. Tell us about it.
I've been going to my nail lady for like 25 years, and then I had to get my nails done yesterday, and I was like, so why? I'm doing real estate now full time. She's like, oh, really? Like after we talked with the family, like because we've known each other for so long, our kids are the same age. We both have 2 boys. Like there's sports, and so we're doing the whole family thing. We caught up on family. I don't know, how was your holiday? I know she loves soups. We're talking about some soups or whatever. I love her.
It's a weird one, but okay.
So what are you doing, couple new guys? I know. So, anyhow, then I just said, hey, I'm going to, because she knows what I do all the time, she knows, so I'm like, hey, now I'm in real estate full time. Really? Yeah, oh, properties are kind of going up now, huh? So this full-on conversation just got sparked. And I was like, he was kind of talking, I'm in full-time real estate now. So it's really fun, it just kind of flowed,
There you go, that's awesome, that's awesome. Is it, okay, so it's been a couple of days now, and for those of you who are here on Tuesday, has anybody not called anybody and mentioned anything real estate? Besides Lauren, who's been busy moving offices.
Yeah, you saw my last 2 days.
Anybody else, has anybody else not made any calls yet? You can be honest if you have. It's okay.
This is Tuesday, yeah.
Well, you had a conversation person, all right, that counts. All right, so I know it takes a little bit, and there's you might have some hesitancy, and you're just like, oh my God, I don't know what to say to people, and I'm nervous, I'm gonna say the wrong thing or whatever. Just
Just do
the
it.
uncomfortable, just do it. I mean, that's,
Nike.
yeah, be like Nike and just do it. Be like Mike. Okay,
I just wanted to say I liked what you did. I was thinking about your approach when you would say, yeah, I'm in real estate, and then you would just stop and then let them kind of like, oh, yeah, and let them kind of come back and nibble on the topic. It was kind of cool.
they almost get surprised sometimes because they're like, wait, aren't you gonna
And I so wanted to say like, do you own your home? Like I told you.
Sometimes just doing that's the best thing, like you said, they'll go, and if I,
Right.
because it comes across as being so confident.
right,
Because you're not like desperate for business or whatever. I mean, and if they don't say anything in 5 minutes, like you can bring it up. Like, hey, but you guys don't own a home around here. We're like, we're about town. You guys let me know. Do you know what's sold nearby? I can send you some comps on Monday or whatever. You can go back to it, but I don't just like in my first year real estate, that's what I was like wait. You mentioned, wait, you're eyes wide open, doing that, like, oh my God, let's talk. Are you looking to buy or sell right now? All right. All right, so where are we at? All right, here's, now I got 2 keyboards in front of me. There we go. Here's the secret to being a successful real estate agent. We talked about this. There is no secret. Success leaves clues, so we know exactly what successful agents do every day. This is it. You do these things often, regularly. This is all you need to do. Everyday agents do 2 types of activities. They grow their business. I like calling it, they find their future business, and they run their business. Sometimes, yeah. We're not going to go through everything on the slide because that's what we're going to be doing over the next 5 weeks. All right, so look, today, this is what we're covering. Today, we're going to focus on lead generating for buyers and sellers. Explain that understanding the lead generation model allows for them to launch into all of their other grow and run business topics. All right, so here's kind of what we're going to be covering today. We're going to cover lead generation. We're going to cover your database, why that's important. We're going to cover the sales pipeline, which we touched on this on Tuesday, but we're going to go over it again because it's so important. We'll have recap and ahas, and then we'll talk about the daily success habits a little more. All right. Here we go. The focus of today's Spark session is the lead generation model. It's important for everybody to understand how what they're learning today fits into the bigger picture. Right? Remember we talked about this, right? That's one with a bigger, there we go. There's prospecting and marketing combined. This is what they call lead generation. Really, all the way through here, this is all lead generation. Let's give an example. You have an open house. Well, yeah, you have a new listing, right? You could send out postcards to the whole neighborhood. Is that prospecting or marketing?
prospecting. Marketing as well.
It's
It is kind of both.
Yeah, but the postcard side of it, that's marketing. I'm not contacting everybody one-on-one. Usually, a good way to think of it is I'm contacting many people at the same time. That's usually something that's marketing, right? And I don't have control over who comes back to me. I just hope I'm like casting seeds out into the wind, and I'm hoping something catches and bears fruit. Somebody calls me back from my postcards, and they say, "Oh my God, Ed, I saw your marketing, it was fantastic. You did such a good job with this postcard. I can only imagine what you would do to sell my home, and I saw the listing, everything looks wonderful. I'd love to have an appointment with you so you can talk about selling my home. So we did marketing, and then where did they go to? Are they a lead or are they a contact?
A leader, no, right?
Kind of both, right? They're a lead because they themselves are thinking of buying and selling, and they're a contact because they contacted me, so we have a two-way conversation going, right? Let's say somebody calls me back off the postcard and they say, hey, Ed, I got your postcard, everything. Dude, hey, easy. We're not going to sell anytime soon. However, I just thought you might know that the people on the end of the block, I think it's 123 Main Street, he just got a job out in Milwaukee from something, I'm pretty sure. So what do we got now?
That's a contact, and he gave you a lead.
So, right, so there's two people that got into my database. The person who contacted me, which by the way, not only have they had contact, they instantly go, remember we're talking about the outer circles and the inner circles? The inner circle are people who refer you business. This guy went from nobody to being like Mercury or Venus, like right off the bat, because they referred me business.
Send him a thank you note right before you even call him.
Well, that's a whole separate topic. But whenever Lauren is absolutely right. Whenever anyone gives you a referral, first thing you want to do is thank them. For those people,
I give them a gift card.
Exactly. You want to reward that because we can't tell people, hey, if you give me a referral, I'm going to buy you dinner. Sorry, it sounds like you can't. We're not allowed to do that from restaurant rules. But if someone does that without us prompting us, you can buy them a new car and be like, oh my God, thank you so much.
No.
So what's the difference? What's allowed?
You can't tell people, hey, if I'm letting you guys all know, if you send me a referral, I'm giving you each $100. You can't do that. But if they do it without you asking them, you can give them $100.
Even before you get the result, whether it ends up with being a lead or not, you want to send it the minute you get it.
And,
I always keep like $10 gift cards on me.
Yep.
Starbucks.
Oh my God, great minds think alike. I used to have a stack of Starbucks cards on my desk.
Right.
Because that's
I think.
totally. So send them a gift up right up front, and then stay in touch with them. It's a great, first of all, it's a great excuse for keeping in touch with this person who just gave you a referral. Hey, thank you so much. Hey, I just wanted to follow up and let you know I called them and we spoke for a little bit, and it's great. I'm meeting up with them, so thank you so much. I so appreciate it. Or it could, even if it goes wrong and it's a dead end, and they're like, oh, hey, just wanted to let you know that the Smiths already have a realtor. However, Frank, thank you so much for sending me that referral. That means a lot to me that you believe in my business, and I just really want to thank you. I really appreciate it. I mean, honestly, when someone gives a referral like of that caliber, like I might send them like even something even nicer, like a $20 gift card to Amazon. And if I do get the listing, then I'll easily spend $100, $200 on something really nice for them. Again, you can't tell people you're going to do that ahead of time, but then when you do that, everyone's going to know, oh my God, I gave Ed a lead. I told him whatever, and he bought me like whatever, gift certificate to some super, super nice restaurant that I never would have gone to on my own. So, okay, we're taking a bit of a detour here. Okay, so that's when we send off postcards. Now, say the listing and I door knock the 20 closest homes to the listing I took, right? A script might go like, oh, hey, how you doing? I'm Ed Morrell with Keller Williams Realty. Hey, I just want to stop by and let you know that I just listed the Smith's house over on 123 Main Street. You know Smith's? Oh my God, aren't they the nicest people? I love those guys. They're so cool. Hey, just want to let you know, we're going to be doing an open house this weekend, 10 to 12. But for you guys who live in the neighborhood, you guys can stop by early while I'm setting up if you want to just like be there before the mass crowds get there. So yeah, we'd love to have you here. Here's a flyer. By the way, are you guys thinking of making a move in the next 90 days? Yes, no? If yes, I follow it. No, okay, cool, totally. And if I'm having really good rapport, if we're just talking whatever, I might say, hey, by the way, do you know of anybody else in the neighborhood who might be thinking about moving? Because I'm probably gonna have leftover buyers from 123 Main Street. So I'd love to put them, any leftovers, I'd love to find them somebody else.
So if they say yes, you're trying to get at least one piece of their contact information right then and there, or you're waiting for them to stumble onto the open house?
Loosely, yeah. I mean, ideally. So, okay, say they, yeah, hey, no, we're not looking at, okay, no worries. Hey, do you want me to keep you posted? I do a lot of work in this neighborhood. Do you want me to keep you posted on how much this property sells for? and kind of like the details behind it. And then, I do a little, what do you call it, market update for everybody in this neighborhood. So I can include you on that list if you'd like. Go ahead, Lauren.
Do you want to sign up for my VIP list?
There you go.
And just leave it.
Love it.
I love that too.
Yeah.
I didn't do that, but that's cool. I like that.
Everybody's a VIP, but they don't know that.
Okay, so leads is somebody who we know is possible seller or buyer, right, or investor. Contacts is once we've established, and now we're going back and forth. We have two-way communication, and then so that's connecting with them. And then if they're doing a deal, well, now I'm going straight to the appointment. A lot of the time, in fact, I would say 95% of the time, say I'm doing an open house, and I do one for a couple weekends in a row. I meet 100 people over the weekend. I would say 98 of them are not going to do something in the next 6 months. And this is where most agents go sour. Most agents take those 98 and they throw them in the trash and they focus on the few that say they're going to do something. It's the 98 that go here, right? You meet them, you start talking, now those are 98 people that may not be doing something the next 6 months, but they may have a referral for you. They may be a buyer in a couple of years. They could be a seller. That's how you build a database, is you stay in touch with them. And most agents don't do that or don't do that well. We're going to talk a lot about that today. All right, where am I at? Any comments on this? Everybody kind of following along? Is it pretty? All right. So you can see how your business will be affected if you're not diligent with each piece of the model. The model builds on top of each previous task. For example, without prospecting and marketing, you won't have any leads to convert to contacts to get appointments with, which lead to get to close contract. On that point, so this part up here we call lead generation, right? We're making our calls, we're knocking on doors, hosting open houses, whatever it is, however you want to find business. That is the engine that drives your business. When you do it well, hear me out, because this is the first, there's two major challenges everybody faces in real estate. I can tell you this as a coach for a few years. The first, which you guys have right now, is where am I going to find my next lead? That's the first major hurdle. There's another hurdle that comes later, which is, it's very tricky, which is my lead generation is working so well that I get a bunch of business. And then what do I do when I have a bunch of business? I stop lead generating, which is now I'm stuck in this roller coaster because I'm focusing on my deals. I'm focusing on my deals. Hey, I made some money. Oh my God, where's my next deal going to come from? Oh my God, I'm working my butt off doing all those things again. Oh my God, that's a couple of look, I'm making some money. But I haven't lead generated in 6 months, and that's going to be a super big challenge for you guys. It is for everybody. It's really hard because you're going to have you may have 3 buyers and you may be swamped and feel like, oh my God, I don't have time to make my 20 dials today or whatever you decide is your jam. And it's really tempting to not do that, right? Right. Hey, everybody get that? All right. There'll be more about that to come. I probably should just follow this because it's well written and I'm just riffing. All right. So the lead,
talk to him about it, right?
The lead generation model is backed by research that, so this research has been conducted for the 2nd edition of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. Today, the discussion will focus on the solo agent model, which we already had. That was this. Make sure that there's 3 major phases, right? There's lead generation activities at the top, your database activities, and sales pipeline activities. The top part of the model, part 1, is categorized as lead generation. This is the part of the model where you will focus on generating leads through prospecting and marketing. Again, prospecting is when you go out and find the leads. Marketing is when you attract the leads and they seek you out. Not only are they working to get new leads, that's you guys, but you're also working to get new repeat and referral business from the people you already know, your sphere of influence, right? The sphere of influence are people you already know. Okay, we got that. In part 2, you're working with your database, leads and contacts. Leads and contacts are broken into 2 different parts of your database because you will be working with and communicating with each group in a different way. You're working to stay top of mind and have conversations through different touches or activities. Phone calls, handwritten letters, event invitations, text messages, promotional materials. These are all examples of how you might be in communication with the database. Part 3, the sales pipeline, that's the final piece of the model. Once a lead or a contact has raised their hand to do business and has identified a timeline to close, they go into step 4, cultivate, which is the beginning of the last piece of the model. The remaining steps follow the transaction until it's been completed. Appointment, active, under contract, and closed. After the transaction is closed, the contact moves back to the contact database and continues an interactive, value-based touch program to deepen the relationship. It is important that you guys understand that just because a transaction is closed does not mean the relationship has ended. You should continue to stay top of mind to gain repeat business or referrals. And that is another thing that most agents are horrible at, is that you sell the house tomorrow and you forget all about them because you're so worried about the 3 people who are, the buyers that you're working with who are trying to find their home, right? I've been guilty of it myself. It happens, but don't do that. The best agents don't let that happen. Any ahas or questions you might have about this model or things that we talked about so far? All right, then we'll move on. Prospecting and marketing bring leads and contacts into your database. You guys should be prospecting based, marketing enhanced. Your lead generation efforts never stop. All right. What do we mean by prospecting based, marketing enhanced, especially in your first year of real estate? What is that referring to?
Probably hitting your sphere as your main source, and then marketing will just enhance whatever outcomes you get. That's
yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. Yeah, I have nothing to add to that. Yeah.
She gets the star.
As I mentioned to you guys, in your first couple of years of your real estate, especially here in LA, your first deals are far more likely to come from people that you already know in LA than for people who you don't know. Now, if you just moved into town, you don't have a database. All right, that's all right. We'll help you build one. But if you've got one, start there. I used to get very frustrated as a coach when I'd have people who used to have a job, I remember, for example, somebody sold cars and they had a database of 1,000 people, of people who had already bought and sold cars with them at CarMax, and the guy wasn't calling his database and was spending all his time door knocking. And I was like, my friend, you can live off that database right there, that 1,000 people for the next 10 years, and you can start there and just let that be your business. So there's my soapbox. All right. So where are we at here? Right? Okay. The first part of the lead generation model is their prospecting and marketing activity. We talked about that. We have just defined prospecting. Yeah, we talked about that. How do you think agents that perform at a high level successfully use lead generation? Allow participants, that's you guys, to share their answers. The question again, how do you think agents that perform at a high level successfully use lead generation?
Interesting way that they phrased it.
I'm not gonna answer it. I want them to answer it.
Will you say it one more time just because it's phrased interesting?
How do great agents use lead generation successfully?
I mean, probably continuing this funnel to make sure that they're continuously contacting those people, making sure that those relationships are nurtured.
Sporadic or continuously?
Continuously. Time management, probably, to maybe you carve out 2 hours a day to continue lead generation regardless of how many deals you have running.
Absolutely, well said. One channel, one communication channel, or various communication channels? There you go, right?
Also, a really big thing to do for clients at the end of the year is a client party. They love it, because then they're all talking to people that they have one thing in common is you. And only the ones that didn't even piss off. And then they're talking about you, and then, yeah, so it's a fun little thing to do. Doesn't have to be a big deal, it can be a pizza party.
Oh, there's supposed to be a video here. Why is this not showing up?
You did this last time too, huh?
This time I made sure that I'm on the right.
You're using the right one.
I'm in the right one. Oh, hold on, it's a separate link, all right, that's fine. Yeah, all right, hold on a second here. Bear with me, talk amongst yourselves.
Like I'm.
Smoke if you got them.
Yeah, a big giant, like a. Things that happen every year now. And
Okay,
everybody
that helps.
more.
Maybe I'm
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I was like, that
Some people
has
still
been-
think they're with physical radio, so it makes it a little different for you.
Were you with Kelly?
And I said, no,
I love
I had to pull all my.
Was that
meetings out.
Oh, yeah.
That's my head.
All right, I got it here, all right.
I-
We're at the here.
Once we get them all.
So I-
Screen.
It's got a pretty
And
good-
he's gonna start coming.
Oh, there it is. No, I think for the most part right now anyway, for the next 5
All right,
minutes.
because we're doing the video, I gotta turn the volume down here.
Probably
Put
not.
this on mute.
And then we also have client appreciation. We try to do that quarterly. We'll do a client appreciation event where we invite everybody out to a restaurant and then we provide appetizers and we just have fun. It's not necessarily a salesy event. It's just about having fun. By being out in the community, they see that we are knowledgeable about what we're doing, but we're also giving back. We care about where we live.
My first year as a realtor, I tried just about everything in terms of prospecting and lead generation. What I found for me was that I present best when I'm face-to-face with somebody. So I really focused on open houses and then networking and getting out for coffees, making myself visible in the community, and then always making sure that I was able to speak to what was happening in the market at any time. So keeping up to date with local news and projects in and around town, I found to be very helpful when talking with people. To set myself apart from the many other agents out there, I've been utilizing video. And I find that putting the videos out on Facebook and a YouTube channel, and then even emailing them to clients really allows people to feel like they get to know you. And I've had experiences where I've talked to people on the phone and they were, especially with out-of-town investor clients, and they were not necessarily ready to go with me until I sent them a video saying hello, outlining how I can help them. It was good to have the phone call with them, etc. And the feedback I've gotten on the videos has been very, very strong. The biggest pitfalls I saw other agents having, and even fell into myself with lead generation, was not having consistent follow-up. So if I had an open house and I got some names and numbers and contacts and told them I'd be in touch with them, sometimes I would get overwhelmed and I wouldn't touch base with them in a timely manner, or to follow up on calls with somebody that has shown some interest. Making sure that you stay on top of things and follow up with your contacts is very important. Scripts are great for understanding what objections you might encounter and how to overcome those objections. What I discovered was I would learn what the foundation of the script was. What was it trying to get me to say? And then I would be able to, just by knowing that and having read it over and over and over, when I would have an objection come up, I was able to utilize those scripts, the content of the scripts, in my own words.
All right, so, by the way, sorry you guys who didn't, let me show you where that, well, let me do this really quick. Let me show you guys where that video is. So those of you guys who weren't able to see that, let me show you where you can find the video and watch it in entirety yourself. So if you go to kwconnect.com and you go here under training, KWU, and go to Labs Ignite 2.0. So here's all the pieces in Spark, which is the part we're doing right now. Lesson number 2, there's a video here that's where you find the link so you can watch it yourself. Okay, so question for you guys. Why is lead generation important?
Well, it's the foundation of your business.
There you go. It's the engine that drives the business, right? What is the goal of lead generation? Let's be more specific. What are we looking for?
Business, appointment. I call it appointments.
Right? So we want it, first things first, we'd love to get an appointment every time we pick up the phone and make a call, if possible. Not always possible. So if we can't get an appointment, we go to at least getting contact information and making sure that I can permission to stay in touch with them, right? And grow that relationship, right? Again, most times are not going to end up in an appointment, but that's not that just means future business. How do you think lead generation looks for successful agents? That's a good one. What's that?
Consistent. Whatever it is, be consistent and do it well.
Most agents, most successful agents who have been around for a while, most of them, they have a calendar that includes a few hours of lead generation. I'm going to skip a little bit of that because that's a whole nother topic. Here, oops, let me share my screen again. Get back to the PowerPoint, which is here. All right, slide. Lead generation is an ever-evolving list of ideas, methods, and practices that bring leads into your business. There are broad categories of both prospecting and marketing to choose from. If any of you guys ever look through the participant guide, there's a list of all of them there that you can give you some ideas for things you could be doing. even though there's a variety of factors, for example, the market, your personality and your preferences, your budget, your goals, some of that's going to dictate the type of sources you're going to use, especially like here in LA. What we do in LA is a little different than if we were in the Midwest, or a place where there's less agents per capita. But all these things dictate the type of sources you're going to choose to do. And that's one thing cool about lead generation is that there's no one way that's right. I mean, there's a lot of best practices. If you're going to do social media, I would dive into some social media classes and find out what are those people doing that brings them business. If you want to do door knock and learn about that, but having said that, your personality is going to come through in whatever part you choose, right?
Can I make a suggestion for new agents that the open houses? People are afraid to be around right now. So I have that new listing coming. I'm going to send out an Eventbrite. So I sent out the Eventbrite, invite people to come. They RSVP, so I have a head count kind of because of the stairs and stuff. But I'm also going to live stream it. So you put a link to have it live stream while you're there, and then they have an interaction with it. You can do it what do you call it?
FaceTime or Zoom?
Facebook Live. Because it's the first time I'm going to be doing it because I'm okay with going live with people, but some people aren't. So I thought, well, that's how I'm going to do this open house and kind of keep it towards the view and all that stuff. I'll walk through a couple times with it. You guys, it's really another way to get people interactive.
I love that.
Yeah, Eventbrite. They think they're being invited to something really special.
Super cool. Okay, so we talked a little about marketing. Marketing is indirect. It should attract leads and support or enhance your prospecting conversations. For example, sending a direct mail advertisement or leaving one while door knocking, then leveraging the material to have a follow-up conversation. Prospecting, on the other hand, is proactive. It's direct. It keeps you in an active versus reactive state. It is the art of you searching for your leads. It allows you to focus on proactive customer creation activities that will be critical to your ability to hit your numbers when the market shifts and you're in a period when marketing efforts don't generate enough leads. When the marketing is hot, when the market is hot, when we're in kind of like what we are now, agents tend to do, bigger agents who have deep pockets can generally do more marketing. When the market tightens up, like for example, like during the Great Recession, like there was not much marketing going on. It became most agents pulled back from spending all that money and instead focused more on prospecting to the database they already had. Why do you think it is better to be prospecting based and marketing enhanced? I think we already answered that, right? Anybody?
Because those are the people who know them and trust you already, so they're more likely to do business with you.
Right, and is it expensive or cheap? What's more expensive? Marketing, right? I mean, if you want to send a postcard to a neighborhood, 1,000 home neighborhood, that's roughly $1,000. It's about $1 a postcard, right? You can blow through all your marketing budget super quick by mailing out, by doing mailers. Whereas you could prospect to that entire neighborhood of 1,000 homes. You could either take some time out and door knock it, or however you want to do it, and you could do it all for free if or relatively free if you want to, right? So that's a possibility. All right, examples. I'm giving you some examples of what I did for marketing. Yeah, I loved it. I remember I used to love doing open house when I was new. I used to love doing open houses for other agents. And I will tell you, here's a tip from me. So I didn't like door knocking in general. I wasn't a door knocker who just wandered around the neighborhood, just knocking on people's doors. Some people are great at it. They do fantastic at it. Not me. It just wasn't my jam. But when I had an open house and I had a flyer in my hand, suddenly like door knocking the couple blocks around whatever open house I was doing was like super easy. I don't know. I just felt like I had a reason for being there, and they felt like I had a reason for being there. It's a great conversation starter. And I will tell you, I probably met, here it's a little different because you get so many people coming in through open houses, but I got probably more leads from the door knocking before the open houses than from the open houses themselves. In fact, some days I'd be like, I had a lot going on the weekend. And so my open house would be like for 1 hour, and I would door knock all around it for like 3 blocks in a perimeter for like every afternoon that week for like 3 hours a day, all for a 1 hour open house. Cause the market was a little softer back then. It was a different world, but that's what was working for me. So I just kept going with it, right? I'll also tell you that when I was on the East Coast, a lot of my business came from calling expired listings. I got really good at it. And, I would say, I used to do about 50 deals a year. And I would say 20, 30% came from either expired listings or for sale by owners. my first assistant, I met her from calling a FSBO. I called her for sale by owner, and she ended up, because it's kind of funny. Like, people always say like, oh, I hate for sale by owners. So, I mean, some of my best clients started out as for sale by owners. Just, I don't know why that works out that way. God, now I think about it, the two people I keep in touch with the most from the East Coast, that were clients were from for sale by owners. It's so weird. Anyways, but the reason why I bring that up is that when I moved here, I was like, okay, I'm gonna, do what I know. And I did calling expireds for about 3 months. And then I was just like, you know what, this is not working. There's other people here who do it in ways that I didn't feel comfortable competing with that, because they call it like way early. And I don't want to be that person. And I started doing that, and I was like, this does not feel right. I'm not being me. And so I was just like, okay, I got to figure something else out. And so I started cold calling. So if you lived in North Redondo in 90278, I probably called you once every 3 months from the years of 2016 to 2019. I mean, I was relentless. I had Mojo Dialer, and I would just like go through and just call everybody. It's a little different now. They're a little more, they're starting to actually get a little more strict on the do not call list. By the way, please do not call list, right? But I will say I got really good at it. And every day I would spend about 2 hours doing it. Every day I would make about 60 calls, something like that, 60 contacts, which is not that big a deal when you're using Mojo Dialer. It's like, it's awesome. And I usually would get 1 lead and a couple of contacts every day, which is not bad, and you only have to do that so long. And then after a while, you're only calling the people who you spoke with, and it's no longer really cold calling, because you already talked. And then, you're not really cold calling anymore. Now you're calling people that you already have called, right? But you can do that with anything. You could do that with, it's the same thing for open houses, right? You meet people at open house, they end up in your database. You start calling them once a month or whatever it is. It's no longer really cold calling anymore. And it's not even really, open house was just the thing that got them into your database however many months ago or whatever it was, right?
Now you're just stalking.
Yeah, now we're just stalking them. Prospecting allows you to really become in tune with the geographical areas you service, giving you oh, this is so cool. So one thing about cold calling through all of 90278 is I got to know everything going on in that neighborhood, because I was so relentless about calling everyone all the time. So, for example, I would call people all the time and they say, oh, Ed, I'm so sorry, but I'm so not interested in talking to you. I get your postcard every month or whatever, but I'm already listing my home with Joe Smith. And I wasn't like competing. I wasn't like trying to get in there. I'd be like, oh, that's so cool. I know Joe, he's a good agent. So tell me more. So what price are you guys going to come out and hit the market at? What day exactly? Have you guys decided what day you're going to hit the market, whatever? I suddenly have, I got a pocket listing. And there was at one point when I had 70 pocket listings in North Redondo. I had 70 of them. So if I had a buyer, I would tell them, by the way, I would be at an open house and people would be like, oh, I'm the buyer, but I'm not sure who I'm going to use as a realtor. And I'd be like, well, why don't we'll meet up? And if nothing else, I can show you the 70 pocket listings that I know of people who are looking to sell their home in the next couple of years in 90278. And they would say like, no way. And I'd say, oh yeah. So just email me the list. No, come into the office and I'll let you peruse through the list and we'll go from there. And it was.
You didn't put the addresses on those, did you?
Usually I would put the street, but I wouldn't put the house number.
Yeah.
And so here's the other thing. Everybody, so this is, I was at a different office at the time. Everybody in the office knew that I was relentless of 90278. So now somebody else has a listing appointment for 90278. Who do they want to talk to? They want to talk to me.
So now you know those.
So now I know those, not only do I know those people, but I am now suddenly valuable to my office. I'm not, even though I had only been at, back in LA for 6 months, I'm being treated like somebody who's like the guru of 90278, right? So there's something powerful. And by the way, I was doing that with cold calling, but you could do that with door knocking or anything like that. You just get to know the neighborhood so well. Yeah, so there's some ideas for you. All right, so yeah, and you just get to know one area so well that, I would be going around Caravan. I would go around Caravan and people would be like, they'd see me come in and be like, hey, wait, what do you think of the price? And I'd be like, let me show you.
Is that the same as geofarming?
Yeah, it's one way of geofarming for sure. Again, geofarming meaning you're concentrating on a small geographic area. You can do that with postcards, the most traditional, common way. You can do that with door knocking. You can also do that with cold calling. Again, please be careful and stay off the DNC list. Okay. What is a database? What is a database?
Your list of contacts, the different ways to contact them, so
Mhm.
phone, address, email, birthday.
Well said. Yep. Absolutely. There's a saying in real estate that your business is your database and your database is your business. And when you think about it, as realtors, even if you've been in business for 30 years and you're rocking it doing 20 million a year, do you have any assets? Like you're not a business that keeps an inventory. You don't have, except for maybe the listings you have at that moment or whatever, maybe the leads you have for the next few months, but there's no real asset other than your database. Your database is the one thing that is really worth a lot. It's the database and what it represents. It represents all the relationships you have. That's all we have in this business is these wonderful relationships with tons of people, right? And is that worth money? Like, could I sell my database? Yeah, you can. You actually can. I can tell you as somebody who sold my database when I left the East Coast, and I still get some money from that all the time. It's a wonderful thing getting mailbox money. You just don't, it's a beautiful thing. Like you forget about it. And then next thing you know, there's a check in that, like, oh my God, that's wonderful. Yeah, it's awesome. So yeah, how are we doing? Okay, I'll do this really quick. All right, we're gonna go into command here a second. Stop sharing here. And instead, I'm gonna share, do I have Chrome open? No, so let me open up Chrome. Go command. All right, we're gonna take these last few minutes here and I'm gonna show you something really quick. I need a volunteer who wasn't afraid of giving me an address. Okay, Cheyenne, give me 1 second. So, okay, here's command, right? Here's all my little widgets along the left-hand side. The second one down is my contacts. Don't worry about my contacts are all weird because I don't use mine really for finding real estate business. I use mine for recruiting and meeting people, agents. But let me show you. Okay, so I add a contact. So Cheyenne, did I spell it right?
You did, nailed it.
Spell it right?
You did, nailed it.
Oh, Cheyenne, what's a good email for you?
Cheyenne. At no wake zone estates.
Spell that right?
I think so.
Sweet.
Hard for me to-
Cheyenne, what's a good phone number for you?
248 660 6619.
There you go.
How we used to think it was so important to change it to a 310.
So true. It does not matter anymore. But I could put the lead source in here. If Cheyenne was thinking about buying or selling, I could add her to a pipeline or mark her as a lead. And then this is what I want to show you, tags. Super, super, super important is because, hey, first of all, if you have 10 people in your database, you can just keep track of that in your head, most likely. And you can just roll with it. And some agents who are new start doing that. It's a bad habit to get in because if I have 10 people and I'm supposed to call 2 people back this week, I'll probably get it right. When I have 100 people, now it's becoming much, much harder. When you have 1,000 people, which you guys probably will have in a few years, it's impossible. You will lose business if you're not remembering who to keep in touch with. So please use a database to keep track of all this stuff. Database is going to remind you when to call them next. Some of it does automatically for you. So you're leveraging automation, which means you can cover more people with less effort, which is what it's all about, right? So let's say Cheyenne, she's an A client. This is somebody who you can divvy up and slice and dice your database however the heck you want. I would recommend having like A's, B's, C's, D's going out. That's a common way to do it. Some people have codes like, I forget now, but you can have like different codes for people who refer you business or,
Venus.
yeah, you have my permission to use my trademarked planetary system.
Love it.
However you want to slice and dice it, right? But just do it in a way that makes sense to you. For example, I used to play a lot of golf when I was on the East Coast. I haven't played in years because I have kids now, but back when I had time in a life, I used to play golf. And then I used to have a golf tag. And so sometimes I have an extra space at a really nice golf club at a course playing that weekend. And so I would just shoot everybody that I knew played golf a quick little email saying, hey, by the way, we got an extra spot on a foursome to play Kiowa on Saturday morning. That's a big deal. I don't know if you know Kiowa, it's like awesome. And there'll be tons, I'll be first person to hit me back, gets in. We could talk about that strategy for a long time, but we're gonna skip it. But anyways, just figure out how you want to slice and dice your business. All right, we're gonna get out of here quickly here.
I have alumni and I have, neighbors, because I do all the reunions. That's a really good thing to do, you guys. We charge you reunions, you get everybody's email.
There you go.
Oh. It's not doing it every 45 years, but it's still, I get all the updates.
That's my person who grew up locally too.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I grew up here.
Nobody wants to call my people from high school.
But still, even people that moved away,
Yeah.
their parents still get here.
Yeah, oh, sure. Yeah.
Super cool. Shane, can I get an address from you?
Yep, 13816. 404 away.
Bam.
Yeah.
Is there a unit or anything?
Yeah, 340.
So now I create this.
I know.
Oh, it's because I have this. Hold on. Go back to my contacts. Oops.
The ones on the screen, you can probably see it better.
Yeah, I think it takes a second to render on their end.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it wasn't showing up the way it shows up on mine.
It does eventually, it just takes a second, I think, to render there.
Oh, sorry about that, guys. I'm kind of flying through this. So here's Cheyenne. Cheyenne's in the Marina Del Rey Via Marina neighborhood, right? According to, was it Nextdoor? So let me show you this. Here's an easy one you guys can do right off the bat. Smart plans. These are like little automated ways of either following up with people or reminding you to do certain tasks. You can program it however you want to do it. There's one, so we're going to add you to a smart plan. It's called Monthly Neighborhood Nurture. We're going to talk more about smart plans, where to find them and all that, but this is all I do. Bam. Start now. So once every 28 days, Cheyenne is going to get an email with what's going on in the Marina Del Rey neighborhood. It's going to say, hey, here's some homes that have sold nearby you. Here's the price points. Are they going up? They going down? And if you want more information, click here and it goes right into the Marina Del Rey neighborhood on my website. And then you get then you can see what's active and all that kind of stuff, right? Super easy way for you guys takes 2 seconds. You'd be crazy not to have every single person in your database. That's an easy one right there, right?
Can I add something that Sonia taught me recently that was like mind-blowing to me too?
Sure.
Is that it only does, because they make them neighborhoods, so it's not even all of Marina Del Rey, it's just doing my tiny Marina Del Rey neighborhood that I'm in. And so she, on that screen, I don't know if you can see it, but you could say add neighborhood and then go on the map and still be able to just click the zones that kind of surround that as well. So I've been trying to do that, give people at least like 4 of them around their zone and then add them to that smart plan so that it's a little bit of a broader.
Unless it's a niche market. If
Yeah.
it's a niche market, you want to stay in that because certain areas, if you go on the other side of the
So
Colorado
true.
Boulevard,
So
changes
true.
everything.
Yeah, that's very true.
So just know that.
Yes, that's a good point. Good point.
So,
I didn't even know you could do that, and so when she told me. I
Yeah,
was
no,
like,
that's
oh,
cool,
shoot,
that's great.
hey guys, forgive me, we're gonna go over by a few minutes here, but there's a topic here that I wanna make sure we hit. And it's super, super important, so I wanna make sure we just hit it. It's gonna take about 5 minutes, my apologies. Once we have people in our database and we're following up with them, research has shown that it takes about 36 touches a year to remain top of mind with those people. Now, you don't want to call them 36 times because they'll think you're crazy, and they'll get annoyed with you. And you don't want to send them 36 emails, because what happens if you send them 36 emails? And what happens, is it easy to come back from spam land?
No.
No, you are gone. You are,
New email.
you've got to, it will take a miracle to get you back from spam land, right? So you don't want to end up there. But so they say that it can take about 19 touches to connect with somebody. So you want to do this, in a more compact time. And then once you get to know them, once you kind of solidify the relationship, then you can just go run off of a 36 to convert, right? That's 36 touch campaign. And here's an example of one here. They do 4 touches, so 4 phone calls a year. That's once a quarter. That's about right. You want to call people about once a quarter. Now, if you're closer to them, say they're a contractor, you can call them once a month. The people who you're like in sync with a lot more, you can call them more often. I would say no one should get called more than once a month, and no one should get called less than once every 3 months, right? So their recommendation here for a sample 36 touch campaign is 4 phone calls, 26 biweekly email offering some type of information of value to the consumer, 2 touches, which would be like either events or get-togethers or parties, and then 4 touches, promotional direct mail, such as a magnet, calendar, market report, etc. My recommendation is I would not do 26 emails. I would do 12, and I would take, for the last 14, I would do social media and do like a boosted Facebook or Instagram post. You want to make sure there's a way to do it where it's boosted through a custom audience, right? You can Google that, custom audience for Facebook, and then you can spend very little money, like $5, and every time they log in, you'll be in their face like all the time. It's crazy. You could spend $1,000 targeting a neighborhood of 1,000 people, right, of 1,000 homes. You could spend $1,000 a month, and over the course of a year, you might get a deal or 2. You could spend $20 a month taking that same group of people and targeting a social media post to them. And it is crazy. They will be like, Ed, you must spend a fortune on marketing. I see every time I open up Facebook, you've got some ad that pops up in front of me. It's amazing. How do you you must spend a fortune. I don't even get that many. I don't even get that from like Coca-Cola or any of these huge companies. Instead, I see you every 5 minutes. I'm logging in. It's kind of odd, but that's awesome. Point being is your dollar goes really far. Now you can't just do free posts and stuff because they won't see it very often, especially if you're using it off of a Facebook business account. But if you spend just a very little amount of money, your dollar will go a whole long way towards reaching all those people in whatever target audience you're trying to hit. Yeah. Any questions about this 36 touch campaign? So one thing I would recommend you guys all do, here's like your first orders of business. Is get a database, get everybody into that database, and then start calling all those people and getting, solidifying those relationships again. Because some people you may have in there you haven't spoken to in 10 years, right? So find a reason to call them, figure it out, whatever. Start communicating with all those people in the database. And then the next order of business is figuring out what do you want your 36 touch campaign to look like. Some of you guys are on a team, so the team will take care of a lot of that. Work this out with the rainmaker from your team. But if you're on your own, you want to figure out what is your 36 touch campaign, figure out how much is each part of this going to cost, and set aside block time to work on this. That's your first order of business, is getting your current database under control. Here's another reason why. If I have 50 people in my database, is it going to take a lot of effort to get the 36 touch going with those 50 people? Some, right? It's going to take some effort, right? Because I got to set up if I'm going to send postcards, I got to set that up. If I got to put everybody on a once a month email, like we were just talking about, neighborhood nurture, that's going to take some work setting that up. I got to call everybody, so that's going to take a while. But you can get that up and running in about a month. You can get your 36 touch machinery up and running in 1 month. Is it going to be easier to do that when you have 50 people in your database or when you have 500 people in your database? 500, it becomes harder and harder to catch up to that hamster wheel when you have more and more people in your database. But I will tell you, more than anything else, more than your cold calling, door knocking, even open houses, I would say this is by far, that part here is by far the most important thing to get going in your first few months of real estate. It is crazy how well this works. And by the way, studies have shown it doesn't, because some of you guys are going to like, I don't know if some of you guys are like super high C, disc profile, high C analytical people. You're going to like stress over for like hours and hours of which font to use or what Pantone color, studies have shown that honestly, it's more important that you contact them 36 times than how nice each one is. And it's not even close. It is far more important that you contact them often in different methods than it is like having the perfect postcard or don't get me wrong. I love marketing. It's my jam. And I love making stuff that looks beautiful and has a great message. And that's great. But for now, just pick a template off of KW Command and roll with it for now. Because get this machinery running up. The quicker you get this up and running, the quicker it works. And when it starts working, it's crazy the way it works. Like you start doing it and you think you know in your database, you've got your A, B's, C's, and D's. And some of the time you're right. Some of the people who you think are going to sell, and they ask you for the appointment. And then sometimes Pluto sends you a referral from like somebody who's like ready to go tomorrow, right? And you're like, oh my God, who are you again? And but it's great. And if you do this, everybody's going to feel like they know you and you're their best friend. And they feel like on the other side of this, they feel like, like they know you and that you're a great friend of theirs. And that's what you want. That's the way it works, right? Any questions on that? All right. Any ahas from today? I mean, and some of it's just, tagging them, slicing and dicing and figuring out, who.
Well, I had to download them all when I left.
Yeah.
So now I've got to see what tags I are,
Yeah. But yeah, when you get a bigger database, that actually becomes a part, like ideally, that's part of your weekly activities is just sifting through your database. There's different ways of doing it. Like a great way is go on your database and be like, show me everyone who I haven't called in 90 days. And you'll get a list. And a lot of times, but you know what I'm saying? A lot of the time, like you go through that list. Now, don't get me wrong. When you get a bigger database, like what Lauren has, you're going to get some people in the outer planets that you're not necessarily going to call. When you start to do the math, you'll realize you can only hit about 500 people calling them once a quarter. You start to get to a point where you cannot physically, there's just not enough time in the day. It kind of caps out for most people around 400 to 600, somewhere in there. When you get past that, you're going to have some people that you're like, sure, I'll send them, I'll put them on the automated email or whatever, but I just don't have time, right? And so those people are not going to get quite the 36 touch love, but they'll get a bunch of more automated stuff, right? Yeah, there you go. But so when it starts working, it's just crazy though, how some of the people that you never thought come back to you. It's wild. And you feel like, oh my, it feels like the machinery becomes bigger than you. And there's this machine that's running, that's just dropping leads in your lap regularly. And your job is to follow up with every single person that comes out of that thing. And then when you start getting too busy, you don't stop lead generating. You find ways to leverage, and that's a whole nother topic, but that's when you start bringing other people, because you want the machinery to keep growing and go. And if anything, you want it to get better and better. That is the number one part of your business, even as you grow. And it can't be sharp enough. It's got to, it's just running better and better and better. And if it means too much business, then give it to somebody. If you can't handle it, refer it, if nothing else. Just be like, I got too much business, but I'm not slowing down my lead generation, right? All right. Any ahas? Anything else? We'll wrap it up.
Stay in touch with people that you've already closed deals with. I forgot about that. Whoops.
That's a great one.
Luckily, one of them was my mother-in-law, so that I'm already covered.
All right.
But yeah, I forgot about that. That's a good idea.
Another really good contact thing that some people don't know about, and I'm giving one of my trade secrets, but there's agents that pass away or get out of business. You go in to the MLS and you pull up their last buyers, right? So you pull up who they represented on the buyer side. And then once you do that, you pull up that address. It's a little bit of work. You go into property profile and title, see if they still own it. If they do, you're gonna add them because they have nobody talking to them.
Ooh, that's
There's a lot of
Sally.
I have every single one of them. who got these because- But see, I know, that's why,
Oh.
like, I know the agents who passed away, but just listen, go on, like, on the South Bay Association, they'll talk about who passed away, or they'll talk about, retiring agents. Trust me. I met a woman in a restaurant one night, she's like, my agent died, I don't have anybody. Oh, that gave me an idea. Yeah.
I love that. Oh my God. If I was an agent, I'd be licking my chops right now. Oh, yeah.
Finding out who died there. I know that. I can't get to all of them, so maybe if they're.
Super good stuff. Anything else before we wrap up? Please continue with the daily 10-4, right? So adding 10 people to your database every day, making 10 contacts with them, either stopping by their house or meeting up with them for coffee, calling them on the phone. Use that forward technique to create some conversation there. Don't be a secret agent. Make sure everybody knows you're an agent, right? Send whoever you talk to, send them a follow-up postcard, and then preview 10 properties. You know, online if you need to. In person is better if you can.
That was another aha, the online thing, I never even thought about.
Oh, yeah, same.
Yeah. So, duh,
Yeah, I keep thinking that it has to be in person too. So,
right.
and I'm striving for that.
And as you get better, you can set up a hot sheet. Most agents have like a hot sheet set up where the first thing they do when they come in the office is pull up the hot sheet and see what's new. Who dropped a price, who, you know, for whatever your little niche is. Yeah. So that's a good tip for you too. All right, guys, we'll wrap it up there. All you guys who are online, it was good to have you. My apologies that you didn't get the sound on the video. And I won't be here tomorrow. I forget who's teaching tomorrow, but someone very competent and just an amazing teacher is going to be teaching the class tomorrow. You'll probably enjoy them far more than me. All right. Bye, guys.